All right, so let's talk through Apres Un Reve by Fauré. And we're just gonna, the first step is just to go through the whole piece slowly for intonation, because I think that's the hardest part of this piece, is playing in the key signature. Okay, so make sure we have 3 flats. And I'm just gonna demonstrate once the whole piece, talking through some of the intonation, the fingerings, and what to look out for. So once again, going through the whole thing, playing it a pretty healthy mezzo forte to forte, disregarding dynamic, and we're only focusing on intonation. And also bowings. All right, so from the opening measure that the viola comes in, already pay strict attention to that in the third measure, that E flat. Make sure from D natural to E flat, from second finger, third finger, that third finger is really, really low. A nice half step from D, okay, for the key signature. Here, low E flat. Shift back to first position. Okay, and then I'm not really even doing the bowing, but just for intonation. Low D flat. Make sure here that half step as well, 3 and 4 really touch. So just in that first line, D flat, C natural, B natural. Really, all 3 of those half steps have to be really, really tight, okay? And the B should be leaning higher, B natural. So low D flat. All right, so all of that falls into place. So the first line should look something like this. Let's go to the second line. Separate bows. Okay, there's 2 options for the fingering in the second line. You can play open G string and stay in first position to hit a 4th finger instead of playing open G. Or you can start in the second measure of the second line. 1, 2, 1, 1. And play 3rd finger, open G string. Whichever is best, okay? I personally actually do this fingering. So, second line. And then I stay there, 3. And then you can go back to the first position. Or you can do the fingering I wrote, which is using a 4th finger, up to you. And again, coming to the last measure in the second line, that F to E natural. We have F natural and then a really high 2. So 3 and 2 really touch. Make sure that second finger E natural is super high, touching the F, okay? We really want these half steps to create some sort of tension in this melody. 3rd line, A flat. Just 3, 3, 2, 2 as written. And then, instead of playing B flat and E flat, that perfect 5th on both strings with the second finger, you can actually shift just a tiny, tiny bit. You're not even really shifting. You're just playing second finger B flat, and then replacing the second finger with the first finger. If that makes sense. Okay, so follow that fingering marked. Then you're in half position. And then you shift again. Third finger, back to first finger, half step again. Okay, so that third line, slowly for the fingerings. 3, 2, 2, 1. And then shift here. 1. Stay there. And then shift back down to half position. Like so. Alright, so that's the opening phrase. Now we repeat the same phrase an octave higher. Instead of how we started the melody. Looking at the fourth line, we play the same notes, just an octave higher. And you can do one of these kind of ethereal, kind of mysterious shifts here. So 2 to 2. And then everything's in half position, or you can stay in first position. Just make sure when you play the D natural to E flat, again, another really close half step, 3 and 4 have to touch. That E flat has to be leaning lower into the D natural. Low E flat. B flat. Okay. Then make sure we play the D flat, which is just like a C natural. Sorry, a C sharp. But we're going to play that D flat with a third finger. So and then we're going to shift. Okay, so when we shift, it should match what we previously played, the D flat on the A string. And then, again, just half steps. 4. So, and then shift back. Now we're just in third position, okay? Then we're going to go back up to fourth position. And then we're in fourth position. Now just extend this back just a tiny bit. You don't even really have to shift. And you go back to third position, first finger. Okay? So, 2, 3, 4. The fifth line. Fourth position. Extend back to third position. Long note. Now here there's a color change to piano. You're going to play a harmonic. Same note but harmonic on the G string. And then you're going to let it ring and shift back to first position. E flat, first finger. Shift back, and then third position. All right, and then back to first position. Okay, and I already forgot to add one rhythm. If you look, sorry, and I'm talking a lot. But if you look at the fifth line, fourth measure, we're actually going to add, we're going to change that rhythm just a tiny bit, so it's going to sound. Okay, and then 4, 3. Now shift to third position. And then to fourth immediately. 1, half step 1. Okay, so shift. Back to third position. Stay in third. Now, you're not in third position anymore, you're shifting back to first. So from first, instead of playing, you can play a fourth finger or you can just play a 3. Okay, so let me demonstrate the third line from the end of the piece, okay, starting on that high F sharp. This is kind of the penultimate note of the piece, the height of the piece, and it's marked forte, okay? So, back down to first position. And I added a rhythm, we'll talk about this later, to reflect the original vocal part. Change of rhythm again. Separate. Now plain old first position. First position. You can play it in first or you can shift here to half position, back to first. Now, you can just stay in first position as well, or if you want to shift, there's really no reason to do the fingering that's printed to shift into half position. Okay, so go ahead and pause and work through each line that I've kind of confusingly played for you, and then come back. This is actually 13 minutes in. This is 13:40 if you want to look at the video for that. I'm just going to play it through once without talking at all, so you can really follow the fingerings. harmonic, back to first, third, shift again, stay in fourth, back to third, stay in third position. That's all in third. Finally go back to first. I just stay in first positions, nice and simple. And it's actually okay to end up bow because the piano ends the last measure of that you have as rest. And conversely, the piano also opens the first measure that's marked in rest for the solo viola part. Okay, so the piano ends and starts with eighth notes. Bum, 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 bum. All right? So strictly the first week, just practice one slowly through, analyzing this video a bit, pausing and marking your music, marking out those half steps that are really, really important to create the key signature. E flats and even D flats that we have later on, so on and so forth, and making sure the B flats are a little bit higher, and all these leading tones and leaning tones, okay? The E flat can be really expressive if you play it low and, if you play it low, okay? That's all I'm gonna say, I'm talking too much, but go ahead, mark your music, and what we're doing right now is creating the groundwork of good intonation so we can really focus on musicality, which is what this piece is about. But the first step is just sorting out all the intonation with the bowing and the rhythm, okay? So go ahead, a whole week of just really hearing these pitches and matching them.